Coming up tonight on the RebZone, we take a look back at the Runnin' Rebels week as they've now won 4 straight at the Thomas & Mack. How are the guys feeling right now?
I mean, I feel good, and I think the team feels good as well. I mean, in practice, we get after every single day. We don't take days off, so I feel like conditioning, we're good. I feel like mentally, physically, we're good.
All right, David Jenkins Jr. says they're good. Well, someone who's been feeling good lately is sophomore forward Moses Wood, coming off the bench with some heat.
One of the biggest things for me is just confidence. Like, earlier in the year, I was kind of doubting myself, and I just wasn't that confident. But, with these like games now, I'm feeling a lot better about myself, and I'm feeling a lot better about how I'm fitting in with the team, and I'm finding my role now. So
we sit down with Moses Wood later tonight to hear how this Reno native found himself hitting the jackpot with the Runnin' Rebels in Vegas. We'll also catch up with the Runnin' Rebels head coach TJ Otzelberger and the Lady Rebels head coach Lindy LaRock as they both prepare their teams for Utah State this week. The RebZone starts now.
You are now entering the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5, sponsored by Pueblo Medical Imaging.
Hey guys, you ready for the snow tomorrow? I'm a little nervous. I walked out to my car early this morning and it was covered in ice, and I'm out there with my scraper and the windshield and waiting for my car to heat up, and I'm like, no. I'm good. This is why we moved to Vegas, so we can get the warm weather and not have to deal with all that snow. But as long as I can get to the Thomas & Mack tomorrow night for the Runnin' Rebels game against Utah State, I'll be good. If I get there in one piece, might have to spend the night there tonight. Well, this 6-game homestand for UNLV is really helping the guys get back up to speed after their 3-week season pause. And like David just said, they're feeling good right now, feeling confident heading into their 2-game series against Utah State this week. We'll hear more from head coach TJ Otzelberger coming up, and we'll bring you the latest on Bryce Hamilton's status heading into tomorrow's game, as Hamilton was out with a sprained ankle on Thursday. So let's take a look back at the Runnin' Rebels week. Well, UNLV started the week off with a 2-game sweep over New Mexico. It was a gritty, physical Game 2 against the Lobos. Unlike their dominant performance in the first half of Game 1 against New Mexico, UNLV came out and struggled early on offense, missing their first 8 shots. It wasn't until 4 minutes into the ball game that Moses Wood came through from the corner, but New Mexico was rolling early, taking a 17-11 lead. Later, the freshman Nick Blake pulls up for a 3, giving the Rebels their first lead in the game, 22-21. But the Lobos kept the Rebels on their toes. Emmanuel Kwok with the swish on the buzzer. New Mexico led by 1 at halftime, 28-27. The Lobos didn't back down in the second half either. Valdir Manuel would extend their lead 37-33, but Bryce, my man, Clutch Hamilton, that should be his name, right? He was able to help his guys pull away in the final minutes of the game as UNLV landed on top 53-46. Fast forward to Thursday night's game against Benedictine Mesa, and that's when we learned that the Runnin' Rebels would be playing without Bryce Clutch Hamilton due to a sprained ankle. We'll get an update on Bryce from head coach TJ Otzelberger later tonight, but the Runnin' Rebels did just fine without their starting guard. 4 players scoring in double figures in this game, including Nick Blake with 15 on the night. Later, Blake over to Mbake Zhang, and Mbake would put up a career-high 22 points. Mbake balling out for the Rebels this season. UNLV up 12-zip real quick. Moses Wood once again from deep as the Rebels roll early. Benedictine Mesa would show the Rebels they can hit a few from downtown, but this NAIA team trailed 50-25 at halftime. Moses Wood came out in the second half with another big 3. That's just what he does, coming off the bench with 11 points. The Rebels had such a big lead in the second half. The freshmen were able to get some playing time, like freshman forward Devin Tillis putting up 11 points and 8 rebounds. The Rebels were leading 95-38 with 3:30 to go. Benedictine Mesa would finish the game with a pair of 3s from Maurice Walton and Tyler Fernstrom, but UNLV would dominate 99-45, improving to 4 straight wins at the Thomas & Mack. All right, Coach, thanks so much for joining us tonight. How was practice today? What improvement are you seeing from your guys? And more specifically, what confidence are you seeing from your guys right now?
Well, practice has been good. I think our guys understand we're starting to get in a rhythm and a routine. You know, we've had the 4 straight home games. Now we have this Utah State series approaching. We know how hard they play and why they're one of the top teams in the league at 9-1. And our guys are understanding that competitive endurance we need to have every day. And I think we earned that right through practice. Having this stretch has been good. It's been great to see guys step up, to see Moses Wood confidence growing, Mbake offensively contributing more, to see some other guys stepping up, scoring the ball. Nick Blake has done some really good things. So as guys' confidence continues to elevate, that gives us more offensive options, which helps. And then I think defensively and on the glass, that competitive endurance, staying the course is really important.
We'll talk about Monday's game against New Mexico. What do you think your team learned about that game on Monday, and how do they want to play moving forward?
Well, I think what we learned is that you play somebody a second time, you're going to see some different things. They're going to make some adjustments. When you're on the end where things went your way, which for us in the first game, things pretty much from start to finish went our way, you know that your opponent's going to make some adjustments. And I think one of their main adjustments was just to play a bigger, more physical lineup, try to really slow the game down and muddy it up. And they succeeded in that endeavor. We need to be more intentional, understanding what our opponents are doing and what we can take advantage of. However, we're still fortunate out of that last media timeout, those last 4 minutes, to be able to pull away and separate and step up when we needed to. You've got to find a way to win those kind of knockdown, drag out, ugly type of games as well, and credit our guys, because that last 4 minutes, I thought our offensive execution, our defensive effort were great.
Well, I was talking to Lindy about this week, about the second game of the series being more physical, more chippy, and with Utah State coming into town. Is there anything you guys have to change up between game 1 or game 2, or do you expect the same intensity for each game?
Well, I think as you approach the first game, you want to do everything in your power to win and give yourself the best chance to win. And so some of those things, until you get to the court against your opponent, you're not exactly sure how that will all go. And for us, when Utah State comes in, I think, you know, they'll have our guys' attention. We know how good they are. They've been a team that's been at the top of our league for the last few years. And so we have a lot of respect for them. So intensity, effort, focus should not be an issue for us coming into this game. And you do everything to win the first one, and then you know, you kind of go back to the drawing board. You've got that day in between to watch some film, make some adjustments, adapt based on what went well and what didn't as you move into the second game.
Well, as you guys prepare for the Aggies, any update on Bryce and his status for tomorrow night?
Yeah, Bryce, we're hoping he'll be able to go. Right now, you know, it still hasn't been determined. He wasn't able to practice today. So we're hopeful that with some rest that it'll work out. But our top priority is to do what's best for Bryce. We know he's competitive and he'd love to be out there. If he can go, we know that he will. But that's going to be a game time decision.
We'll hear more from Coach Otzelberger later in the show, but coming up next, we sit down with Moses Wood, the Reno native who transferred from Tulane, how he found his home at UNLV. He shares his story with us after the break.
You are now entering the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5, sponsored by Pueblo Medical Imaging.
Well, something positive that's come out of this 6-game homestand for the Runnin' Rebels is that guys are starting to get into their stride, gaining that confidence back after a month of no games. Well, that goes for sophomore forward Moses Wood, who sat out last year after transferring from Tulane. He's been waiting for a while to shine with the Rebels, and now it's his moment. I sat down with him earlier this week to get to know Moses a little better. Tell me about your story and how you got to UNLV.
Senior year of high school, I had about 4 offers, one of them being Tulane, so I ended up going there. We had a pretty rough season. My coach parted ways with the school, and put my name in the transfer portal, and now I'm here, and I couldn't be more happy to be here. So.
Well, I know you're from Reno, so what's it like playing here in Vegas and being close to home, and your family is gonna eventually come out and see you play and all of that?
Yeah, well, there's definitely, obviously, is a huge rival, and a lot of people were kind of upset that I went here, being from Reno, but a lot of my good friends and family all have my back, so they were supportive of the decision to come here. So it's all good at the end of the day.
Well, I know this season has been, so unique and challenging and different, but how awesome is it to play this year with Coach Otzelberger and your teammates? I know you sat out last year, so how good does it feel right now to be on the court with your teammates?
Oh man, it's such a blessing. We didn't even know if we were going to have a season, right, with Corona. So just to be able to be out there, especially after sitting out a year, it's been awesome to be out there and play with my teammates, and yeah, it's been great.
We'll talk about the past few games recently, like the St. Catherine game. I feel like ever since you guys got home, you've just been turning it on, like you especially.
Yeah, I think that Colorado State, that series out there kind of woke us all up, and we lost two close games by 3, and that kind of just woke us up and fueled our fire. I feel like we had some momentum going in after that Kansas State game, and then we went on our big break and stuff, so that was unfortunate. But yeah, those Colorado State games, we just had to get back into a rhythm, got home, and I think things are clicking again. Everyone's getting their confidence, so yeah.
Well, from the start of the season until now, until last night, basically, what do you think you've gotten better at this season, or something that you've been working on that you're starting to see in game action?
I think one of the biggest things for me is just confidence. Like, earlier in the year, I was kind of doubting myself, and I just wasn't that confident. But with these like games now, I'm feeling a lot better about myself, and I'm feeling a lot better about how I'm fitting in with the team, and I'm finding my role now.
And coming up next, we catch up with the Lady Rebels head coach Lindy LaRocque as she prepares her 5-6 team for a road trip to Utah State. She shares with us why her team has been falling short in Game 2 of these conference series and what they need to do to get a sweep against the Aggies.
Three-line fast break. Let's get it going. Three-line fast break. Good. No dribbles here. Let's try to get no dribbles. Everyone, go D, go.
The Lady Rebels are 3-3 in conference play as we're starting to see a trend in their 2-game series this season. UNLV has seemed to come out strong and win their first games against Wyoming, Colorado State, and New Mexico, but ends up falling short in Game 2 of each series this season. The Lady Rebels didn't have any games this week, giving them more practice time to prepare for their road trip to Utah State this week. UNLV looking to sweep a 4-7 Aggies team. We sat down with head coach Lindy LaRocque earlier this week. Coming off that split, what did you really want to work on in practice, and what did you really want to get out of this week's practices?
These series this year with the format of playing teams back to back, it really is a challenge competitively, emotionally. So it's hard for the coaches and for, the student athletes to kind of find a new gear of mental and physical toughness. So coming off the New Mexico series, again, we still aren't playing our best basketball. I think that's still ahead of us. So we want to kind of sharpen up our edges and make some fine-tune adjustments as we go along in our offense and our defensive game plans, and still add some new things that can help us be successful against all of our opponents, and especially some of the ones that we have coming up here soon.
So with the Runnin' Rebels, we've seen that the second game in the series is more physical, more chippy, more intense. Have you felt like that in the second game of these series, that the other opponent just wants to bring it, and it's a little bit more of a chippy second game in the series?
Absolutely. The second game of the series, can be night and day different than the first game, because now we know each other. They know what we want to do. We know what they want to do. And so there's some other factors that come into play of just some physicality, some grit, there's chippiness, there's maybe a little bit more trash talking as far as, a will to win and who's just going to kind of scrap to do the little things. And so, that's been a challenge for our team. We've put ourselves in a great position to win the first game of these series. And so the second game, that's where we got to see a little bit more growth. We started out the season with a really young team, but now we're halfway through. So, I told them this week, we're not young anymore. All of our young players, all of you players have, almost a whole half season of experience. So the youngness of our team isn't an excuse, and we have to continue to improve and to grind out that second game so we can get 2 victories in a weekend. So it does start with the first game, though. I do like winning the first game. I'm not going to lie.
No, it's been so much fun to watch. But speaking of your young team, are you proud of the growth you're seeing right now mid-season from your young girls?
Absolutely. I mean, talk about a year that just has so many challenges and hurdles and obstacles. And then to kind of have such a team with some inexperience at the college playing level and just young women that don't, have many years to their life. So, we've seen just tremendous growth from our personality of our team individually and collectively as a group. They are playing more and more together, and they're very unselfish. They like each other. They love playing with each other. So that, in a lot of ways makes my job easy. And then we just kind of get to coach up some of the basketball things.
Mid-season right now, you're heading into Utah State. I think you guys play Reno next. What would you like to see from your team moving forward now with conference play?
Well, we really have our first road trip of the season coming here with Utah State. So I'm interested to kind of see how our team handles that. We've been really spoiled with being comfortable at home. So going on the road, there's some adversity there, just even with the traveling. Utah State is really cold, so we'll have some cold weather to also battle. So for especially this first series, I'm interested to see how we handle ourselves on the road. They actually have fans, so that will be a new adjustment for especially our young players. They've never played in front of fans, so I think that's going to add another level of adversity as well. And so I'm hoping we can make some great strides and really band together on this road trip and then carry that forward into the next couple series. And really, as a coach, what I just want to see is continuous improvement. We're not a finished product. We're not playing our basketball yet, and that is okay. If we kind of continue to inch closer to where we want to be, come the middle of February, end of February, we will be playing our best basketball, and that's the best time to, when it matters most. And so over the next, few weeks, it's all about just continuous growth and improvement for our team.
And coming up next, we'll wrap up the show with Coach Otzelberger as he shares with us how his guys are getting ready to host Utah State Monday and Wednesday, hoping to keep their 4-game win streak rolling at the Thomas & Mack. So Utah State will be bringing their weather down to Vegas with them when they tip off against the Runnin' Rebels tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, but they'll also be bringing a really talented roster when they play this 2-game series against UNLV on Monday and Wednesday. The Aggies are 9-1 in conference play, sitting in second place in the Mountain West standings. Colorado State just snapped their 11-game win streak on Thursday night, but this is a dominant Utah State team that leads the Mountain West with 13.4 offensive rebounds per game in league play. Utah State is one of only 2 teams in the Mountain West right now with 8 or more players averaging at least 5 points per game. They're stacked. For more on how the Runnin' Rebels are preparing to host the Aggies, let's bring in head coach TJ Otzelberger. Well, do you like the opportunity of hosting Utah State instead of traveling there this year?
Absolutely. I mean, to play at Thomas & Mack, to stay in our rhythm and routine is great. The confidence to shoot the basketball on our home court. They're able to have fans at their games as well in Utah. So for us to be able to go there, definitely a tough road environment. I think they've got a really good home court advantage. So certainly love the opportunity to be on our floor, in our rhythm, in our routine, sleep in our beds, and come out and have a great performance.
And are you seeing in practice that they're excited for Utah State? They're excited for this matchup. They know it's going to be gritty and physical. What was the energy like in practice?
Yeah, our guys were competing. We were flying around. We know that, especially with Cater, their big guy, that, he's a physical force, both offensively and defensively. Being their foreman is one of the best rebounders in the country and just a phenomenal offensive rebounder. So I think their physicality is something that our guys are welcoming. And we're going to have to not only match, but elevate that level of physical play from start to finish, because I think what makes them good is that physicality, especially on the interior.
Coach, how happy would it make you to finish this homestand with 6 wins?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, right now we're looking at tomorrow's game, and that's the one in front of us. We got to find a way to get 5 before we can get to 6. So I think more than anything, it's just having an intentional, stubborn mindset, finding a way to get the job done and win that 5th one. And if we're fortunate enough to keep that momentum going, it'd be huge, because you really want to take care of the games on your home court. That's so important. We've done okay with these last 4, and now we've got to build on it here tomorrow night.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Best of luck. We'll see you tomorrow. Fingers crossed we can all get there safely. We'll catch you tomorrow, Coach.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Paloma.
Well, that'll wrap it up for the RebZone. Y'all be safe out there on the roads this week. Stay warm, and we'll leave you with the best plays of the week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching Fox 5 News. Watch us live wherever you are, on our mobile, on our streaming news app. And you can also watch us on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.